Welcome all to the history of Doctor Who, Part 1. This series will basically be dedicated to releases of Doctor Who. This may be TV releases, or TV episodes, sorry, DVD releases, VHS releases, even movies that they've made, or comic books, like really anything that I can find. And today's episode will go over TV episodes and other releases. Other releases are mainly just like stuff like, a magazine making something of Doctor Who. Something along the lines of that. And this will be going over everything before and during season 1. And I'm mashing them both together. I'll just do one season, or like one thing that's before that season. But since there's only one thing in the before season 1, I'll just be mashing them both together. And if you want the time little thing, the before and during season 1 thing, it was going on from the 21st November 1963 till the 12th of September 1964. And yeah, 2 days. The first ever recorded thing of Doctor Who was 2 days before it even aired, which is insane. But anyway, let's get into it. Now, let's start with one. I'm not even sure if I'm putting the correct image up, but this was actually the announcement of Doctor Who on the Radio Times in the 21st November 1963. This showed the broadcast of An Unearthly Child, or was telling you about the broadcast of it. The cover tag was Doctor Who, a new Saturday afternoon television series of adventures in time and space, and a Doctor Who preview feature, which was half page. Pretty small, but was actually the first ever recorded thing of Doctor Who, and 2 days before its actual first recording. At an unknown time in 1963, a pilot was made for Doctor Who and An Unearthly Child, the first episode, I believe, and this was the first ever recorded thing for Doctor Who, if you don't count the first episodes that was actually aired. Now, the reason this wasn't aired because there were so many problems that was happening with Doctor Who at this point. Like, for example, there was like the TARDIS doors opening and closing randomly. There had to be clothing changes, among other things. Like, if I was to label here, it has to be over 10 hours long and will be in the year 2050. But this was actually our first ever look into Doctor Who, and the thing I'm showing you right now is actually a thing I found on YouTube, which I believe is the actual pilot. And despite the weird look, obviously because it's old, it actually looks quite more better than the original one, since the original one actually did have a few changes to the pilot that actually made it a bit more worse. But overall, the pilot was worse since all the problems that the producers had. Now, re-recording this actually took the BBC a lot of money, since recording back then was so if you were to you couldn't make any more mistakes, or else recording would take up a lot of money, and you didn't want all your money to be gone before you even did 2 episodes. And this is actually one of the reasons Doctor Who could have been cancelled so early on in its lifespan. Part 1 of An Unearthly Child, called An Unearthly Child, was aired on the 23rd of November 1963, and this was a big thing for Doctor Who, as it was, well, the thing that actually started one of the BBC's biggest TV series. It was very well received for its first episode, and literally just started the whole of Doctor Who. If this never made it to screens, or it's never got past the first episode, we never had Doctor Who as we did. And it introduced the cast and the well-known TARDIS, as well as many other things like how TARDIS is bigger on the inside than the outside, and also one of the very first plots, which was, I believe, about cavemen and fire, and how someone was trying to make fire not happen, which obviously break the whole of time and space. But yeah, quite an interesting episode. An Unearthly Child was then actually rebroadcasted on the 30th of November 1963, along with the broadcast of the second part of An Unearthly Child, The Cave of Skulls. Part 3 of An Unearthly Child, The Forest of Fear, was then broadcast on the 7th of December 1963. And then Part 4 of An Unearthly Child, The Firemaker, was broadcast on the 14th of December 1963. And this was the first end to a serial on Doctor Who. Now, this was also very well received, and actually, the whole serial was a good start to Doctor Who, as the actors were doing quite well, and they didn't really need to do, didn't really have many problems. So, yeah. Part 1 of the Daleks, named The Dead Planet, was first broadcasted on the 21st of December 1963. This was the first introduction to the Daleks, who was actually the second and I believe most popular villain the Doctor has faced. And it is an amazing episode, despite the Daleks having their arms move every 5 seconds. Part 2 of the Daleks, The Survivors, was first broadcasted on the 28th of December 1963. On January 1964, the Doctor Who theme, the Eric Winston version, was released as a 7th single by Pi. Part 3 of the Daleks, The Escape, was first broadcasted on the 4th of January 1964. Part 4 of the Daleks, The Ambush, was first broadcasted on the 11th of January 1964. Part 5 of the Daleks, The Expedition, was first broadcasted on the 18th of January 1964. The recording of the Doctor Who theme was released as a 45 RPM single on the February of 1964. Part 7 of the Daleks, The Rescue, was first broadcasted on the 1st of February 1964. Part 1 of The Edge of Destruction was first broadcasted on the 8th of February 1964, and this is actually one of the first episodes that I can't actually find footage of, or any images of. Part 2 of The Edge of Destruction, The Brink of Disaster, was first broadcasted on the 15th of February 1964. The Edge of Destruction was probably one of the shortest serials Doctor Who's ever had, if you don't count the new series. The first ever Doctor Who related covers are made on the 22nd of February 1964 to promote the first episode of Marco Polo. Part 1 of Marco Polo, The Roof of the World, was first broadcasted on the 22nd of February 1964. Now, Marco Polo was actually one of the more popular ones, as it was the first one to actually introduce some history into Doctor Who. Because Doctor Who, back in the day, was meant to really be on history instead of just being about aliens, which it is kind of now. Yet some history still does leak in sometimes, like world wars and stuff like that. And Marco Polo, sadly, was the first ever fully missing serial. Not slightly missing, fully missing. And apparently it was a really good serial as well, so we can only hope that we get it back. But we thankfully have telesnaps as well as audio for the serial, I believe. Part 2 of Marco Polo, The Singing Sands, was first broadcasted on the 29th of February 1964. Part 3 of Marco Polo, 500 Eyes, was first broadcasted on the 7th of March 1964. Part 4 of Marco Polo, The Wall of Lies, was first broadcasted on the 14th of March 1964. Part 5 of Marco Polo, Rider from Shang 2, was first broadcasted on 21st of March 1964. Part 6 of Marco Polo, Mighty Kublai Khan, was first broadcasted on 28th of March 1964. Part 7 of Marco Polo, Assassin at Peking, was first broadcasted on the 4th of April 1964. Part 1 of The Keys of Marinus, The Sea of Death, was first broadcasted on 11th of April 1964. Part 2 of The Keys of Marinus, The Velvet Web, was first broadcasted on the 18th of April 1964. Part 3 of The Keys of Marinus, The Screaming Jungle, was first broadcasted on 25th of April 1964. Part 4 of The Keys of Marinus, The Snows of Terror, was first broadcasted on the 2nd of May 1964. Part 5 of The Keys of Marinus, Sentence of Death, was first broadcasted on the 9th of May 1964. Part 6 of The Keys of Marinus, The Keys of Marinus, was first broadcasted on the 16th of May 1964. Part 1 of The Aztecs, The Temple of Evil, was first broadcasted on 23rd of May 1964. Let me get that one out. Part 2 of the Aztecs, The Warrior's Death, was first broadcast on the 30th of May 1964. Part 3 of the Aztecs, The Bride of Sacrifice, was first broadcasted on the 6th of June 1964. Part 4 of the Aztecs, The Day of Darkness, was first broadcasted on the 13th of June 1964. Part 1 of The Sensorites, Strangers in Space, was first broadcast on the 20th of June 1964. Part 2 of The Sensorites, The Unwilling Warriors, was first broadcast on the 27th of June 1964. On the 30th of June 1964, the Dalek book was released. It contained comic and prose stories dedicated to, Daleks. The comic stories were The Dalek Planetarium, Invasion of the Daleks, The Oil Well, The Message of Mystery, City of the Daleks, The Humanoids, Monster of Gurnian, and The Battle of the Boom. And the prose stories were Red for Danger, The Secret of the Mountain, The Small Defender, and Breakthrough. These stories had no Doctor present in them, but had many main characters being the Daleks, Jeff, Andy, Mary, Susan Foreman, and the Mole. And yes, the last one was not a joke. A mole was literally one of the main characters. Part 3 of The Sensorites, Hidden Danger, was first broadcasted on the 11th of July 1964. Part 4 of The Sensorites, A Race Against Death, was first broadcasted on the 11th of July 1964. Part 5 of The Sensorites, Kidnap, was first broadcasted on the 25th of July 1964. Part 6 of The Sensorites, A Desperate Venture, was first broadcasted on the 1st of August 1964. Part 1 of The Reign of Terror, A Land of Fear, was first broadcast on the 8th of August 1964, and was the first partly missing serial of Doctor Who. Part 2 of The Reign of Terror, Guest of Madame Guillotine, was first broadcasted on the 15th of August 1964. Part 3 of The Reign of Terror, A Changed Identity, was first broadcasted on the 22nd of August 1964. Part 4 of The Reign of Terror, The Tyrant of France, was first broadcasted on the 29th of August 1964. This part is currently sadly missing. Part 5 of The Reign of Terror, A Bargain of Necessity, was first broadcast on the 5th of September 1964. This part is currently missing. And last but not least, Part 6 of The Reign of Terror, Prisoners of Conciergerie, was first broadcasted by the 12th of September 1964 and marked the end of Season 1 of Doctor Who. And that was it. That was the whole video. Thank you for watching. This was basically the first season of Doctor Who, or everything that was during the first season, and I hope you enjoyed it. I enjoyed making this video, and I had to do a lot of research. I will credit where credit is due for the videos, images, and sources in general. The credits go to their people. I mainly got all my source from the TARDIS fandom. I'm not sure if it's a very viable source, but there's I think it's everything Doctor Who on there, so I'm going to probably use it a lot. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed that. And next will be Season 2, and I can't wait to do that one. That one will be a very interesting one, because I believe there should be a lot more instead of just parts of certain stories, since I think then Doctor Who was getting a kind of movie kind of thing. So yeah, that'd be interesting to talk about. And we got through two missing episodes as well, or two missing serials. And I'm hoping in the future we actually find these serials, because it'd be very interesting to watch them in their normal form instead of being animated, or just watch them in telesnaps, because telesnaps aren't really enjoyable to watch, even if they do give us a idea of what it used to be. Anyway, please like, subscribe, all that good stuff, and have an amazing morning, evening, or afternoon.